Hey everyone! So I have good news, bad news, maybe a little in between. So this weekend I took a trip up to Baltimore for a wedding. It was pretty fun to go to. It was just a good trip all around, but I didn't get as much footage as I hoped for. So I'm gonna take you along the way as I prep some of my food for the week. Starting with the butternut squash soup that I like to make a lot. It's kind of been my obsession lately. Yeah, I'll just take you along the way with that, and then probably do some prep for breakfast for the next couple of days. We'll cook together. So for the butternut squash soup, of course, I have the most important ingredient, the butternut squash itself. I didn't get as big of one as I usually like to grab, but that's okay. Like usually when I have a little less ingredients of one kind, I'll make up for it in another. So I have plenty of tomatoes, so I'm going to use extra tomatoes this time, more than I normally do. So first I just need to prep the butternut squash, and then once I have that done, I will put it on the pan after I oil it, and I will show you exactly how I do this. So cut off the ends. That one was a little further actually than I normally like to do. That's okay. It's still kind of got like, I got right at the middle there of the core part that is in there. I'm actually gonna take out the trash can so that I can kind of scoop out the inside there. But yes, now I'm going to kind of try and cut this down. A little uneven, but that's okay. It's not always going to be perfect. So, but this is a recipe actually that I'm not taking any credit for, so I'll link the recipe. But I have made one or two modifications to it to make it in a style that I like. I like to make my butternut squash soup a little bit spicy as well. So I'll show you how I do that. Right now I'm just scooping out the seeds. Okay. Now my fingers are all orange. So now that I've scooped that out, I'm actually just gonna prep the pan, which I should have done at the start a little bit. Just greasing it up a little so that it's nothing gets really stuck hard onto the tray. Just putting some oil on there. Now I've got my two halves. I'm just gonna put them on the tray as they are. It's gonna look nice and pretty before I'm done, but we're just gonna go one piece at a time. So now I've got my bell peppers. I usually go with at least 2, if not 3. I like to mix it up what colors I use. I really usually like to have a red one as well, but I used up all my red ones in the last batch. So we're gonna go with orange and yellow today. We do have a little bit different flavor profile, so the more yellow color, the sweeter it gets, I think. When it's red, it's less sweet. That one is good to go. Probably just gonna put the top of it in here. I like to use them to hold the little pieces like that. So I'll do the same with this one. I did already wash these veggies, so make sure you wash your veggies before you eat them. Oftentimes, even if they say they're like ready to go, I still think it's a good idea to wash it because it's been, in the grocery store, exposed to whatever elements along the way. And while I trust that they do a good job handling the products, you just never know. Rather not eat the dirt. Next, I have garlic and red hot chili peppers. So these little chilies are my favorite. They add a lot of kick to the soup. This is an added part that I like to do in the recipe that you will not find on the link that I post. And then the garlic, oftentimes I've done the whole garlic where I cut it through the top and squeeze it at the end. This time, I'm gonna skip that. I have already prepped this garlic, so I'm actually just gonna take it and put it inside of the bell peppers. That way when it cooks, as it cooks through, it won't get stuck to the pan, and it'll kind of like, I feel like, meld the flavors together a little. And then these little peppers, I just cut the tops off, and I put those in with the bell peppers as well to keep them upright while they cook. These are very spicy. If you are not used to a little bit of spice, then I suggest using less than me. This time I have 6 of them, and I like the little extra kick it gives. So we get these at the Asian market down the way from where we live, and yeah, they usually come in bulk, so we got plenty to spare after I use a lot of them for this. So, and when I say 6, that gets pretty spicy. So if you don't like a lot of heat in your food, I suggest doing less. But if you want a little bit, I'd say maybe go with 2 or 3. It doesn't sound like it would do a lot, but it goes a long way. So I am actually going to use all of these tomatoes. Because I have already put oil on the pan, I'm just going to plop the tomatoes on, put some to fill the random space that's left in these peppers. I like to clean as I go, so once I take this out, I'll wind up cleaning it right away just to make sure that it doesn't stick too hard. Right before I started recording, I did set the temperature on the oven so it would be at 390 degrees Fahrenheit. You can obviously vary from there depending on your oven. Because I know our oven well, usually we actually have this roast in there for 2 hours. The last thing that I have to add is this red onion. So I'm just gonna cut off the ends and chop it right in half. Not a lot of work, so hopefully it doesn't make you cry. And hopefully it doesn't make me cry in this moment. We'll see. I usually get pretty lucky if I go fast. So. And then I just take both halves and well, when it's a bigger butternut squash, I can usually fit it right in with the squash. But this time, we're just gonna put it right here. And just, usually I do have the rosemary. Unfortunately, don't have it today, so we're just gonna do with what we have. I have like a garlic and herb seasoning, so I'll replace the rosemary kind of with that. I always start with a little bit of olive oil all over the veggies. I don't like to do too much, just enough for it to catch those seasonings and cook the food well. I put a good amount in these peppers so it's full of good flavor. I'll start with the garlic and herb, and we'll just go down the line. I usually follow the seasonings that are recommended in the recipe that you'll see. That's garlic powder, that's like red chili flakes, which yes, I have the chilies and I go with the red chili flakes. I just like that extra amount of heat. I just think it's better. I like a little bit of spice with the soup, so I like a lot of black pepper as well. Seasonings are good, you know. So this is everything. I will show you how it looks. Looks nice and pretty, but what I am gonna do before I put it in there is put tin foil on so that it cooks well. The recipe says to have it in there for most of the time with the tin foil on top, and then to take the tin foil off so that it can kind of caramelize a little more. When I do this with the halves, I definitely need the full like hour and 40 minutes to hour and 50 minutes. So we're gonna put it in, we're gonna get ready with the breakfast food, and then we'll go back to it. All right, now I'm gonna clean this up, pull out everything for my breakfast for the next week or so, and we will start making my overnight oats for the next week. So I am going to make my overnight oats. Usually I like to do sweet dark cherries with my overnight oats. Unfortunately this time it appears that I'm out. This is what I like. It's Califia Farms toasted coconut almond milk. So this is got both coconut and almond milk in there. So that gives it a little bit of that like coconut flavor without all of the saturated fat that can come with coconut. What I have here are steel cut oats, whole grain. Those are the least processed oats that you can get. I really try to go as like natural as I can with these foods. I mean, as you saw, like tons of just veggies and good fiber and everything that I'm cooking for the soup. And you'll see when I add more to the soup later what kind of gives it a little extra goodness to it. So right now I'm just measuring out half a cup of oats, which is technically 2 servings. So it's very filling. When I have these oats in the morning, I don't need something for a long time because the oats are in there, there's fruit, there's protein. It's good to have a variety. You don't want to do the same thing every single time. So to add extra fiber in there, I always put in ground flax seeds, and I also add chia seeds. That gives a lot of fiber, that gives extra protein. We don't usually get enough fiber in our diet. With all of the processing that is in all of the food, at least for those of us who are in America, you know, it's good to find as much healthy sources of nutrients that you can, and we often lack fiber in our diets. But yeah, as far as the flaxseed, I kind of just eyeball it. For the chia seeds, I do about 2 tablespoons, give or take. I mean, this part of it, I'm mostly just, you know, pretty standard. So no matter what flavor I put in there, it's gonna have the same amount of chia seeds and give or take the same amount of flax seeds, just so that I'm getting that extra protein and fiber in any way I can. Usually the way I do this, I add all of those dry ingredients first so that it can all get to the bottom, be mixed in well. And that includes the protein that I add. So this protein right here, this chocolate peanut butter protein, is definitely the one that I like more. It's a collab between Raw and Bum. So that's the one that I like to use most often. I'm actually getting low on this protein, so sad day. I have to go get more. That's okay. I'm gonna use this protein for 2 of them, and I will see, I'm not even filling the scoop there. And I'll use the other protein I have here for the third one. So this one is a plant-based protein powder, and it says it has a greens blend in with it. It's just simple truth. I got it at the grocery store. I thought it sounded kind of neat, different with the greens in there. It's all plant-based. Whereas the other one, I think, has whey in it, which, yeah, contains milk and peanuts, so milk. Whereas this one does not have any milk in it. So now that these are all in, I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit. One thing I notice about the vanilla protein is it requires more liquid to mix and not be kind of as thick. So that one I'll probably add more to it. Yeah, I just try to mix it up a little so it's evenly distributed. I do just over half a cup of milk to mix it with, and I usually add it in after all of the dry ingredients before the fruit. That way I can really like shake it up and mix it in well. So now I decide on my fruit. But first I'm gonna shake this up so it starts to mix together. So now that we have our protein powder, or all the dry ingredients mixed in, I'm gonna add my fruit. So For both of the two that have the base of the chocolate protein powder, I'm gonna do strawberries. Like I said, normally I like to do cherries, dark sweet cherries, but strawberries were just... Fill it up enough so that it's about to be at the top of the jar itself. And then there's still plenty of room for it to mix up well. And for the vanilla one, I am going to add a bunch of blueberries, but I also apparently added blackberries to it. And now all we need to do is put this away, wipe the counters down, clean the couple small dishes that I have, and then wait for the ingredients that are cooking in the oven to be ready so that we can blend and really create that soup. These are the veggies when I took the foil off just 2 seconds ago. Now to go in for another 10 minutes and they will be ready. Boy, does this smell good. Nice and ready to go in the blender, as well as this broth that I made just a moment ago. I made it with some better than bouillon garlic base. Okay, so now we're done blending, and I'm just going to take this over, and I take the whole lid off so that I can get all of the soup. And we also have this blade to take out, which is nice and hot, as you can see. So I am very cautious while I do this part, just getting all of it back into the blender, because I am going to pour the entire contents into my pot over here. I used the same pot to make the broth. So if you wanted to make the broth like I did, I mean, if you're using bouillon, like typical bouillon, it's like 1 cube per cup, I believe. You need like 1.5 cups of the broth. So I did like 1.5. Mine was liquid, so that's measured for servings in teaspoons, but I still kind of eyeball it anyways when I make it. So yeah, so now I'm just gonna pour it in here, which it already looks really good, like full of flavor. And I know adding the coconut milk is just gonna add a little bit more creaminess to it. There's no added sugars in that milk, so I'm not too worried about how much I'm adding there. It has a little saturated fat, but not a lot. So it adds just a little bit more to it, which I really like. So the coconut milk, there is a measurement that they say on there. I just kind of eyeball it. So here's the soup, looks nice and pretty, and I'm just gonna pour in a little bit. It's probably a little more than I meant to, but that's okay. And mix it all up. Makes it really just slightly lighter, just like full of flavor though. My favorite next add to the soup is corn and chickpeas. So this will add more fiber and some more protein. Not exponential amount, but it will add more, and it gives a little texture to it, just like when you have something like a corn chowder or something of that sort. And it just adds a little bit more flavor with the corn, a little bit more sweetness to balance out the spicy that I like to add. In the past, I've roasted cauliflower steaks before and ate that with the soup as like a carb replacement. Yeah, so this is the soup, and it's definitely a favorite of mine. Like I said, I'm obsessed with it. So hopefully if you do try it, let me know what you think. I really appreciate you guys coming to watch. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, hit that bell down below so that you know when I post. I will post again next week on Monday. Hopefully, so the surprise that I did intend to have for this week unfortunately fell through. Stay tuned. Next week we'll have that exciting surprise upgrade to our kitchen that I have been really looking forward to. And yeah, if you have any questions or if you have any video suggestions for the next week, the week after, I do read the comments, so please let me know what you think, and let me know if there's anything that you'd like to see. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you try this. Oh, it's down there. Let me know if you try this, and if you like it too.